Hi everyone and welcome back. Today we're at a really interesting location. I, as you know, don't plant a whole lot of annuals in my garden, but this is something I want to focus on in the next year. It was something I tried to get to this year, but there was too much of expansion going on in the garden this year to really focus a lot on annuals. But I've been reaching out to some growers and I found a location that I'm going to be getting a lot of my annuals from this year. So I'm going to attempt to plant stuff more in ground and also in containers. But when I reached out to them about inquiring to purchase some stuff next year, they invited me out to shoot a video. We are at Stockslagers, which sells a lot of annuals local in the area. But take a look at this, poinsettias for Christmas and the holidays. As far as the eye can see, I'm going to take you around and show you a lot of these colors. I was just talking to one of the owners and we were discussing some of the varieties, when they get these things started. So the poinsettias, or poinsettias, depending on where you're located, I call them poinsettias in the South, come to them as tiny plugs from my understanding, and then they plant them up and grow them on. They have a really automated system here, which is really nice and cuts down on the amount of labor and watering. So he was explaining to me that they put soil probes in a select few of the containers per zone, or one plant per zone. And then those probes, which this might be one right over there, detect the moisture in the plant, and it uses that plant as a control to water the rest of the plant. So it's very automated. They start this process around September after they get rid of growing all of their mums for the season. And these containers sit here until they're ready to ship out in the next week or so for the holidays. Some of them are different red, and then some of them are really, really vivid red, like these behind me here. And they also have some other beautiful colors that might work great for the holidays, including Thanksgiving, such as these pinks behind me here, and this new variety of white that has come out recently that they're trialing this year. White poinsettias, some of the complaints are that they're too creamy color, more like a yellow. That's just been something that hasn't been bred enough to get a more vivid white, but this one behind me here does tend to be a lot more white than the others. And so they're trialing it and might grow more of these in future years, but I'll show you right quick how vivid white it is currently. So you can see here, there's still a little tinge of yellow, but this is much brighter than a lot of poinsettias that you might see at your local garden centers. Look how beautiful these are. So these will start being shipped out in, the next week or so. So they grow all different sizes here. They have like 10-inch poinsettias all the way down to really tiny containers, which I'll show you in a minute. But these are the type of things and the operations that I really enjoy seeing how this happens. To realize that these things grow on from a tiny, tiny plant from September to be available for you for the holidays. Now, he did say these are one of the longest plants they grow. It takes the longest. Typically, they will start their mums, which they also grow in July, he mentioned, and those will be ready to sell in September. So that's a very short growing window. These get started around July as well from cuttings, and then they eventually receive smaller plants here, pot those up and grow those on for all of their customers. So for anyone interested, Stockslagers is a garden center that you can come buy a lot of annuals from. They do have some perennials in the spring. You can get your mums here and poinsettias, but they do have a really large wholesale business. So a lot of these things will be going to other garden centers to sell to you. So let's go take a look at some of their other greenhouses they have here. They're all full of poinsettias now because that's pretty much all they're growing. This one right here had a lot of the different color in it, and I wanted to show it to you for that reason. Really beautiful. So these are the baby poinsettias. But look at this color. For those of us that are kind of used to buying their poinsettias at a big box store or the local garden center, it's really interesting to watch them being grown because I have never seen such high quality plants in my life. Like, these are really, really beautiful. You can see on the ground here that they're all on individualized drip irrigation, which is one of the reasons I kind of preach drip irrigation in the home garden as well, because it delivers just enough water directly to the plant. And in this case, they're using a lot of technology with those sensors to give the poinsettias water exactly when they need it, keeping the soil sufficiently moist for the perfect growing conditions. And this is what happens when you use automated drip irrigation system. This variety in particular is really beautiful too. It's not as red as you can see those back there, but the green on it is it transitions really nicely. You can see the change right here in this leaf in particular as it turns red. And these are just massive plants for decorating. In front of us, they have some machines here that they use for potting up plants. And this is the parts of operations that I really love, watching the conveyor belts. And obviously they keep it really clean in here for disease purposes, but all this equipment, which I don't know anything about, but looks really sophisticated, does a lot of the work. It makes it much easier for them to take care of these plants. To get an idea of scale of this operation, I'm going to ask, and I will put on the screen, how many poinsettias they grow per year on average. He did tell me that they grow about 90,000 mums for sale in the fall, which is incredible. So we're going to head to the front and show you some of these that they have on display for sale. And I just wanted to share a little bit of holiday spirit with y'all while we're in their first snow day for the fall. In this production area, you can see that they're getting ready some things for spring, which they'll be growing on to provide to customers. All right, everyone, thank you for joining today's video. Jacob, the owner of Stockslagers, is sending me home with some beautiful poinsettias. So thank you, Jacob. We're going to make very good use of these during the holidays. Take care, everyone. Bye.